cymbal manufacturers manufacture cymbals for percussionists and other musicians. Major cymbal manufacturers: Bosphorus Cymbals, Istanbul Agop Cymbals, Meinl Percussion, Pleister, Sabian, UFIP, Zildjian. Other cymbal manufacturers: Bellotti Symbols. Bellotti was a small Italian cymbal workshop that produced cymbals from the 1950s until the 1970s. Because so few of these vintage cymbals exist on the market today, Bellotti remains one of the more obscure names in cymbal manufacturers. Most Bellottis are relatively small, 12-15, and quite heavy. Their craftsmanship displays a fine lathing on top and bottom and very broad, circular peen hand hammering. The cast bronze cymbals are of a B20 alloy. The bell holes of most Bellottis are of small aperture, which suggests a fabrication date prior to the 1960s or earlier. Very finely crafted, most existing examples are likely to have been hand or field cymbals, due both to their weight and diameters. The telltale insignia is an embossed stamp on the underside of the cymbal. There are two versions of this stamp. The first simply reads Bellotti on capital block letters. The second version also reads Bellotti, but also incorporates the logo of a bell. Often, Bellottis have an embossment that reads Italy or Made in Italy in a semicircular pattern. This embossment appears on other Italian cymbals of the 1940s-1960s. Bettis Custom Cymbals. Bettis Custom Cymbals is a one-man, artisan shop run by full-time independent cymbalsmith Matt Bettis. Established in 2006, Bettis Symbols provides high-end, custom cymbals, handmade using raw-cast B20 cymbal blanks supplied by members of the Zildjian family. Beginning in June 2014, the Nomad project began with Matt Bettis traveling across the United States making cymbals on the road in his mobile cymbal shop. Each Bettis Nomad cymbal is marked with a serial number and the location in which it was made. Roberto Spazzy. Chino. Roberto Spazzy. Chino was an Italian jazz drummer and renowned master cymbalsmith. Spazzy Chino loved and hand-hammered cymbals in his workshop in San Quirico, Tuscany in the tradition of the Zildjian cymbal makers from Istanbul. Early in his career, Spazzy Chino worked for the Italian cymbal company UFIP, providing cymbal development and research. In 1986, after leaving UFIP, Spazzy Chino started experimenting with his own Spaz brand cymbals. Spazzy Chino also worked for Bespecco, an Italian musical equipment manufacturer. Bespecco still offers a line of machine-made B8 Spaz brand cymbals produced according to a process developed by Spazzy Chino. The Chinese cymbal manufacturer, Wuhan, also produced a limited number of its own Spaz brand cymbals during a brief collaboration in 1989 when Spazzy Chino visited the factory. He was in China to find a source for B20 blanks. Spazzy Chino was involved in the Wuhan Spaz cymbals design but was not involved with the cymbal production and distribution. He was not satisfied with the product and did not wish to be associated with it. Neither the Bespecco Spaz or the Wuhan Spaz cymbals were endorsed by Spazzy Chino. Recent Spazzy Chino brand cymbals are crafted from high-quality B20 bell bronze discs sourced from Turkey. The first Spazzy Chinos were made from inexpensive, heavy B20 blanks imported from China. By heating, hand-hammering and lathering the material, Spazzy Chino sought to bring out desirable sound characteristics often lacking in machine-made modern cymbals. Spazzy Chino became unsatisfied with the purity of the Chinese material after a couple years, and found a different supplier. Roberto Spazzy Chino's cymbals are coveted by jazz drummers seeking the old K sound, and are considered rare and collectible, as he made fewer than 3,500 cymbals during his career. Spazzy Chino died on November 22, 2011. ZYN cymbals were introduced by Premier in 1950 and marketed as an affordable cymbal. They were made of nickel-silver alloy and could be ordered with Olympic drum kits. Pairs of heavy ZYN cymbals were available for concert music. The professional-grade Super ZYN range followed in 1951, realized in Beat 20 alloy. According to Cymbals Today, these instruments were endorsed by a number of professional jazz drummers, such as Ray Ellington and Eric Delaney. Sizes available were 12 inches through 24 inches and in thin, medium, or heavy weights. Pairs of heavy cymbals were available in 14, 15 and 16-inch sizes for concert orchestra. The 5-star Super ZYN range was announced in 1968, replacing the Super ZYN as Premier's professional-grade cymbal. Like their predecessors, these cymbals were also made of B20 alloy. However, the build was thicker and heavier, similar to the heavyweight Super ZYNs, reflecting contemporary trends in popular music, where denser cymbals were required to meet the increasing volume of amplified instruments. The range began with a 12-inch cymbal, while hi-hats could be specified in 13, 14 or 15-inch pairs. 16, 18, 20 and 22-inch cymbals were all available as a ride, crash, or crash ride. Sizzle cymbals could be ordered in 18 and 20-inch sizes. Orchestral cymbals were available in 14, 15 and 16-inch pairs. There was also a budget alternative to the 5-star Super ZYN, called the 2-star Super ZYN. Production of all ZYN types concluded in 1984, replaced by Premier's expanding distribution of Zildjian cymbals. However, the name has since been revived on 2 occasions, with a German-made ZYN appearing in the late 1990s. Unlike previous ZYN cymbals, the logo was now stenciled onto the cymbal, as opposed to being stamped into it. The range consisted of 14-inch hi-hats, 16 and 18-inch crash cymbals, plus a 20-inch medium ride. To date, the most recent reintroduction by Premier was in 2006. The new ZYN was machine-hammered B20 alloy, while the new Super ZYN was combination hand and machine-hammered B20 alloy. Both were made in China. As with past ZYNs, paired cymbals were available for concert orchestra and marching bands. The revival was brief and the cymbals are no longer produced.